What if the quiet calculus behind closed doors in the Bay is scripting the final act of Lebron, James's storied NBA journey, a seismic crossroads that could remake the Warriors' future while shattering everything we thought we knew about the 2025 season? Welcome back to Warriors News Fan Report, where raw truths collide with splash era passion. Smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so your heart never misses a beat. The NBA offseason has ignited one of its most electrifying sagas yet, as the fate of Lebron James, a Titan in the final chapters of his legendary career, hangs in the balance, sparking wildfire rumors that twist the knife deeper into the Lakers' already uncertain present and send ripples right through Golden State's championship blueprint. Despite LeBron recently activating his player option for the 2025-26 season, securing a gargantuan $52.6 million contract extension, the King himself remains shrouded in doubt, casting a shadow over whether the purple and gold will be his final home or merely a stepping stone to unfinished business elsewhere. His singular focus is crystal clear: one last ring before the curtain closes on an era defined by relentless greatness. But whispers from LA's executive loft suggest the Lakers' eyes are drifting toward building around a new young superstar, Luka Doncic, rather than rolling the dice on a title push anchored on the aging shoulders of a soon-to-be 41-year-old legend whose game has been nothing short of miraculous. LeBron's camp has spoken too. His agent Rich Paul's recent statement cut through the off-season drone like a thunderclap, emphasizing that while the Lakers remain deeply woven into the fabric of LeBron's career, the star demands a realistic chance to win, acknowledging the organization's pivot to future building, but subtly fueling speculation that LeBron's allegiance might not be forever sealed if that championship window doesn't align. With such candid disclosures, all eyes have turned towards potential suitors, and none glitter brighter or weigh heavier than the Golden State Warriors, a franchise with an old flame for creating a Steph Curry-LeBron James super tandem that some insiders once believed was within reach not too long ago. Before the February trade deadline passed, whispers even swirled about attempted deals that would unite LeBron with Stephen Curry and Kevin Durant, a move that would rewrite the NBA narrative overnight and unleash a tidal wave of hope and heartbreak. The undeniable chemistry forged between Curry and LeBron in Olympic battles only adds fuel to these fantasies. Both icons have openly toyed with the idea of joining forces under the same banner again, creating an intoxicating what-if that lingers in Dub Nation's collective consciousness. However, the Warriors' path to this dream isn't without peril. Their current payroll packs a punch, with stars like Curry, Draymond Green, and recent marquee addition Jimmy Butler commanding a combined $139.6 million in salaries heading into the next campaign, leaving precious little wiggle room to offer the Lakers a tantalizing package for the King. Butler, while a logical salary match to LeBron, carries his own risk season at 36 years old and marred by a history of limited games played stretching back to the 2016-17 season, raising questions about his longevity and immediate value. Golden State's secret weapon, though, lies buried in their treasure trove of draft assets, famously holding all their first-round draft picks locked in until 2032, a formidable currency that could very well tempt LA into a blockbuster trade that shakes the NBA's foundations. But herein lies the tension. Is it worth risking the Warriors' long-term blueprint for a superstar whose prime is undeniably behind him, one who will turn 41 before the first tip-off? The scales tip heavily because LeBron controls the chessboard, wielding the power to approve trades or decide destinations, meaning any Golden State move hinges not just on asset calculation, but on the King's own vision for his swan song. We stand on the edge of a narrative that begs the question: will Curry and LeBron don the same uniform once more, reigniting flashes of past glory and storming back to reclaim the throne? Or is this the silent pivot that ends one dynasty's twilight while attempting to birth another? Imagine the weight of the moment: Steph's deep threes piercing silence, Draymond's fiery eyes watching from the sideline, Klay nailing clutch shots, all shadowed by the specter of a seismic shift that could either weld this Warriors squad into an immortal constellation or splinter the harmony painstakingly crafted through years of battles and heartbreaks. As a lifelong Dub Nation believer, my pulse is racing just writing this. My mind swirling with visions of what could be an all-time blockbuster merger or a devastating disruption. But is this the spark that reignites our dynasty, or the crack that fractures our legacy? Drop your unfiltered takes in the comments. I'll be right there, heart in hand. If your pulse just skipped 2 beats imagining Steph and LeBron lighting up the Chase Center together, I need you to scream your gut reaction right here, because this isn't just some off-season whisper anymore. This is the sterile calm before. A storm that could crush us or crown us, and Dub Nation deserves to feel it raw and real. So here we go, no breathers, no safeties, because the tension cracking through the Bay State is thick enough to cut with Draymond's glare when the whistles start blowing, and the stakes make the oracle-like crowd's roars feel like distant thunder in a faraway storm. The Warriors front office, the silent engine behind every splash and every buzzer beater, has been holding cards tighter than Kevin Durant's steely clutch gene. And if the rumors bubbling up into that Bay Area, haze or true, what we're facing is nothing short of seismic. Imagine this, the king, the very embodiment of basketball royalty, who has danced through decades of NBA chaos without ever losing a step, now weighing a journey last talked about in fevered Russell, Westbrook trade talks, and the unending parade of LeBron's next chapter. Except this time, that chapter might unfold in Golden State's storybook. And the pages are not just inked with dream fades and threes. They're inked with decades of legacy, dangers, and dynasty-defining decisions. Steph Curry, the greatest shooting surgeon the game has ever seen, stands at a crossroads more painful than the 2019 Finals collapse, with his own body starting to whisper warnings between the roar of splash after splash, and with his brotherhood, forged in the trenches of traffic and double teams, now under threat of losing the cohesion that made them more than a team. They were a basketball immortality experiment. I mean, what are we really looking at if the Warriors suddenly gamble everything on a player whose gravity once pulled the entire league into his orbits, LeBron, coming home? A move that could scorch contracts, sunder locker room chemistry, and rewrite salary cap blueprints in ways only Bob Myers and Joe Lacob could stomach in their quiet, calculating guts. And yes, it's wild to even consider Jimmy Butler part of this equation, his fiery toughness, Canadian cold streak of clutch. But the 4 years nearing the end of his prime and injury, shadows loom just as dark as the Oracle shadows across the Bay Bridge at night. And yet, the first-round picks, the sacred stockpile built to replenish this roster with winged warriors like Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody, stand as the only chips negotiable enough to shake the Lakers out of their echo chamber. Are we ready to barter so heavily that our draft future blurs? Are we ready to hitch our championship wagon not to the dynamite draft picks that once were called the future, but to the past glories and last thrills of a man who's defying biology like no one before him? Because this is it, this moment where the weight of history, the hunger for the next banner, and the ache of glory collide harder than Klay Thompson's release on a corner three. And the vibe coming from the Chase Center is electric but nervous. You can see it in Steph's guarded smiles and the flicker in Draymond's ice blue eyes that knows what's at stake. Warriors fans, don't forget, this team has survived its share of hell. It survived dynasty-ending injuries, toxic media waves, and heartbreaks so brutal they carved scars straight through Bay Area pride. But will this gamble on LeBron's twilight be the masterstroke that sends us back to the summit, or the crack that fractures a culture built one splash at a time? Let's talk about the energy. Every locker room conversation right now is a powder keg. What does Klay think? Is he ready to share the spotlight once again? Or does this signal the beginning of an end we can't even see yet? Kuminga and Moody, those hungry young wolves, are itching for minutes and moments, and their development curve could be eclipsed or accelerated instantly by the arrival of a megastar like LeBron. And Coach Kerr, he's caught between his basketball intellect and The emotional toll of managing legends old and new. The man who's orchestrated some of the most beautiful ball movement in NBA history now faces a puzzle where loyalty, legacy, and pure championship thirst collide with salary cap gymnastics that look like a Rubik's Cube on fire. This could turn the Warriors from a trusted dynasty into a high-stakes experiment, and every fan here remembers being burned before the 2019 finals. Meltdown still screams in the back of our minds like a ghost refusing to be exorcised. But it's not just about basketball. This is about identity. The Warriors weren't just a team. They were a revolution. The three-point era's harbingers, the embodiment of the Golden State's relentless pursuit of excellence, humility, and unselfishness. Would bringing LeBron into the fold risk turning a tight brotherhood into a constellation of stars orbiting their own gravity? How does Steph, the ever-competitive, ever-growing legend who took his game and his leadership to untouchable heights, cope with suddenly sharing the franchise's throne? The bubble bursts, the crowd hushes, and the next chapter zooms with a razor's edge. If LeBron arrives, are we witnessing the birth of a new dynasty, the merger of two iconic legacies that should terrify the league? Or the beginning of a silent splinter, a fracture in the spine of the team that defined what it meant to be great on our terms, something we painfully saw unravel with KD's departure and the Wilt Chamberlain-level dominance slipping through. Our fingers once again? The gravity of this moment pounds like a drum in my chest with every passing rumor and every contract detail leaked. As the loyalist blue and gold soldier who's felt the sting of every loss and the glory of every parade down Market Street, I can feel it. Every fiber of this Warriors' identity is on the chopping block right now. The question is not if we can survive this. It's what kind of team, what kind of heart will rise from these ashes. And if the king chooses to wear the Bay's colors, who will he become alongside Steph? Can a team so rooted in youth and unbreakable trust really integrate? The ultimate elder statesman while keeping the hunger, the pace, the sheer joyful chaos alive? Are we about to witness the ultimate basketball love story, or the last act of a dynasty slowly slipping away beneath the weight of opportunity and greed? And while front offices debate, while Twitter heats to a fever pitch with hot takes and wishful dreams, Warriors fans, this is your call to arms. Now's the time to unload your real, no BS views. What's your gut telling you about LeBron to Golden State? Savior, poison pill, or something in between? Is this the last hurrah that brightens the Bay, or the slow fade of what once felt eternal? I'm here, locked and loaded, ready for every theory, every heated argument, every desperate hope. Drop it all below, no holding back, and I promise you this, I'll meet you in the comments. Heart bleeding blue and gold, firing back with everything I've got. Because no matter what happens next, we're Dub Nation forever. Are we ready to ride or die with LeBron and Bronny in blue and gold? Betting it all on now. Or do we stand guard over the future we're meant to build without losing our identity? Lay it all bare right here. I'm right there with you. Locked in, heart pounding, and ready to debate with the fire of 1,000 splash-infused battles.